My name is Nancy Washira. I am a journalist from Radio Lamu, and also a community advocacy for girl child or women. Youths have now come to know their position in the community. Now that they have been giving them educations in terms of the benefits that they're supposed to gain in the community. One thing I would like to speak about is the KPA projects. Lamu Youth Assembly conducted an event together with the KPA. They educated youths on the projects and the opportunities that are there in the KPA and how they are going to get it, of which it's still pending because they're coming back now with those projects. We are expecting them so far. Another issue which is a big achievement is on bursary issues. In case students have issues, Lamu Youth Assembly have CS of every department, of which they work closely with the county government as well. They make sure every student access bursary no matter where they come from. Another thing, or the other project that they did recently was about the Mukoe, was about peace building in Mukoe, of which we had stakeholders and the security and the community. That was a big achievement according to me, because by the time the project was done, it was so close that the security agencies and the community had known their differences, and they agreed that they are going to work together, and they got to understand each other because there were some differences. Now that the community view the security, they think that they mistreat them, and these community members were like, we can't accept to be mistreated. That's why we don't want to bring cases. In case we find someone who is doing wrong to the community, we can't report. Now that you can, they thought that the security members were going not to accept and maybe blame everybody in that community. But so far, I can say it was a good achievement that the differences will be able to be solved using this Kwa Pamoja Tuzuie Balaa project that Lamu Youth Assembly had. Another thing is that in media, I would say they play a big part. Now that when we call them in any interview to educate youth, they always stand out. The president, the speaker, the CS, the MPs from different wards, they always come, do interviews in case there's something that the community doesn't understand about the project that the government is taking or something that's going on. They always come to explain. There are youths who are ready. Every time you call them, they're ready to speak about the things that are affecting the community and see a way of solving the issue. Okay. First of all, I would like to mention about the things that I would like them to improve in their activities. They need to engage a lot of to do a lot of engagement activities in those marginalized places and with the communities as well, because you find that sometimes I go and ask, maybe I'm called somewhere and ask about, like I ask the community about whether, have you had this organization that is helping people about this and this? They tell me no, just because it has not reached that place. And I think the issue is, as they claim when I ask them, is the issue to do, as the director have told us here, the issue to do with the money they get, because most of them are just volunteers and they depend on the money they get from the donors so that they can do the activity. So once they get a good sponsorship in what they do, I think they're going to reach all the places in Lamu, and they will help to change, just like the way they have managed to change some few wards in Lamu County. Another thing is, I would like to call out the stakeholders themselves and the so-called donors and sponsors, so that they could at least keep the promises that they make, because you find that they go in the ambassadors' offices, some presidential and governance offices, they are being given promises of which they are not fulfilled. So when they come back and say, so-and-so told us they're going to bring this and this and this to the Lamu community, and then it doesn't happen, they find to be like people who are just lying. Another thing I would like to comment about is, I would just suggest that this thing, the Lamu Youth, just to be made fully just like any other assembly, conducting their activities now and then, the government to support them fully, so that at least youths can, it's a good platform for youth to be giving their views and what they think about themselves, including the so-called policy that is recently been made. I would like the county assembly to support it to the passage, and again they should also hold their hands in terms of passing it and making it a law for youth, so that they can say at least they've been considered in the county, not basically for Lamu Youth Assembly, but for Lamu Youth. That is something that is going to be for Lamu Youth specifically, and it will be a good platform to empower the leaders that are coming. Now that in the next like 10 years, the people who are going to be leading and the youths that are now working, and most of them maybe they will come from Lamu Youth Assembly, or maybe youths who have been empowered by Lamu Youth Assembly. Another thing I would just like to mention is about media as well. The media team, sometimes Lamu Youth Assembly just call media to come and maybe voice whatever we have, whatever they are doing, and you find that some resist just because they expect when you come and do some coverage, we're going to be paid this amount of money. I can't do when I'm not getting paid. So it's just something that I would like to call all the media houses around Lamu and everyone who does media. Once you're being called by Lamu Youth Assembly to do something like this, or maybe to cover them, just know that Lamu Youth Assembly is just volunteering youths that are trying to advocate the voices of youth, and you should just do it in goodwill and not expect to be paid. If there is something that they pay, just like the way they work with us, we don't call them for interviews there, or even when they ask for an interview in our radio station, we don't tell them to pay, just because we know it's just an organization that is a non-profit, and we don't expect them to be having money to pay for the show that we're calling them to come and talk about. Yes.